Hey, Dan.
Hey, so welcome to Slyboro Ciderhouse. We are one of the earlier cider companies from New York State. When we opened in 2007, there were maybe a half dozen cideries in New York. I think now there are over 90.
So you started the cider business angle. What year did you first make your first cider?
So our first ciders, we started experimenting in the early 2000s in the back room of our apple barn, which we called our mad scientist room. Lots of glass bottles bubbling away with different kinds of cider. And our objective was really to kind of educate ourselves about cider and specifically what different apple varieties would contribute in terms of flavor. Because we knew that from the beginning that we were going to be working with blends of ciders. So we needed to know the different flavor notes and different qualities from each apple variety so that we could build our knowledge base with that to develop the ciders that we have now. So initially we were really working with the apple varieties we had. We knew from our conversations with other cider makers that we had some really good stuff to work with to begin with. We also brought in other apples just so we could include those in the palette of ciders that we were making, anticipating that we'd be planting some more trees and then we'd have access to our own apples to build more ciders as we kind of emerged.
Hey, Dan.
Hey, so welcome to our apple cold storage room. Hicks Orchard is a very old orchard. First apple trees were grown, I think, planted here in 1885, and currently we're growing about 40 different apple varieties. A number of them are eating apple varieties, but increasingly we're growing apples just for hard cider production. These are a combination of American heritage apple varieties. Some of the primary ones that we really like are things like these Northern Spies. Great late season apple, nice acidity, really good cider apple, a great eating apple, also a good pie apple. We also like Golden Russet and a number of different rusted varieties. They make great ciders. They impart a lot of unique flavors and including, I think, more prominent acidity and some kind of bittering qualities that come from tannin from the flesh of the fruit that goes beyond what you get from a normal eating apple. That are kind of bred to exclude those flavors because they're not really great to eat.
All right. Hey there.
Hey, so this is our production room. Most of the work that we do in the cidery happens in this room. It's way too small, but we try to get the most use out of it we can. These tanks are standard winery equipment. They're designed as a white wine fermenting tank. And stainless steel, they're made out in Western New York to our specifications. One of the key components, which is really important in cider making, is temperature control. This dimpled portion of the tank is a double jacket that allows us to either circulate a warming fluid or a cooling fluid to help us control the temperature of the fermentation. It even allows us to refreeze the wine, to cold stabilize the wine if we want to finish a fermentation before the yeast has actually completed its job. So this is all doing exactly what you guys are doing at home, but on a little bit different scale. So in our ever-evolving business plan and our exploration of ciders, we're starting a barrel program. These barrels all have ciders of different ages and different varieties of cider. They were fermented, finished, racked into these barrels to start an aging process. And as we learn a little bit more about this and find the right finishing point for these, you'll start to see some of these barrel-aged qualities emerge in some of our ciders too. So early on in the life of Slyboro Ciderhouse, we entered a number of competitions. Back in that time, there were not a lot of cider-specific competitions. And so the judging was a little bit variable from one to another. But we wanted to see kind of where we were in the spectrum of what was available and how our quality kind of lined up. You can see we did pretty well. I think some of the key awards we got were this Good Food Award for, I think it's actually for the La Santerre that we got from an international competition. Also, La Santerre won a gold medal at an English cider competition, which we're particularly proud of.
All right, so thanks for the tour, Dan, for the cidery.
Well, thanks everybody for coming out, and I hope this is a good class for you. We really appreciate your supporting the business and your interest in cider. And it's a lot of fun to make cider. It's a real creative process. We really like the history and the heritage of cider, how that makes some sense of some of the apples that we grow. But the most important thing, and the biggest enjoyment, is the pleasure of drinking cider. So
that's right. So what do we have here, Dan?
This is our Rose and Sky bottle-conditioned Imperial cider. It's my favorite.
Awesome.
And cheers.
Cool. Cheers. Is it true you used to wear the medals around the orchard?
Yeah, I was the best.